When the moon hits your eye like a big pizza pie.
That's amore. I had to, like, it's so, like, this is called That's Amore. I don't amore. So, yeah. And that was the first thing I thought of because I love old weird music. So, anyways, this is Heroes in Crisis 5. And it is by Tom King. And the art is by Clayman, who is just absolutely, like, visually stunning. It's so good. But we get the best variant so far. We get to see that Jason Todd murdered, and it is so good. Like, I love the shadow, everything about it, and it's Jason Todd, so perfection. Well, we open up and we get to see these therapy sessions, which I am so getting sick of. But anyways, we get to see Booster in therapy, and he's talking about, like, the alternate timeline Batman that killed himself in front of him because of what Booster had done. And he says that there's, like, a smudge on his glasses because of it, and there's really not a smudge there. Like, it's all in his head. But, yeah. So, anyways, we see him with Blue Beetle. And I love this. It, like, says Heroes in Crisis, and I didn't even realize until it was pointed out to me, but it's so good. And we get, like, the ultimate bromance here, and I love these two together. I think they do a really good job with this interactions, and they have the best idea ever to go see Barry in the lab, and they figure he's got all of his clues done, and they're gonna knock him out and figure out the mystery. Such a good idea, right? Like, they tried this before and it doesn't work. Yeah. Spoiler, it works. But anyways, so we see Commander Steel, and he's basically doing the same thing everybody does in these 9-panel things. And he's talking about his origin stories. And the only thing I really did like was that he does talk about the female version of Dr. Light in this. And I think it's really cool because she's kind of underappreciated and kind of one of the cooler characters. I don't know. I just thought that was a neat little Easter egg they added in there. But we see Batman, and he's coming back with Skeets, and he's talking to Batgirl, who just, I absolutely love how she looks in this. Like, Clayman draws her better than anyone I've seen. I have, like, literally yet to see anybody that can draw her look this great. But she's like, you know, he is done interrogating Skeets, and she's like, hold my beer, I got this. I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it right. And she does. So we switch back to Superman and Lois, and he's got to do this, like, almost superhero State of the Union address. And he's, like, super upset about it. And I love Tom King. I love his writing, but he writes men and characters in general very low T. And he is just like, I'm done with it. I think I'm done. Maybe I'm done. I'm not sure if I'm done. How about I go in front of the window and just reflect for a little bit instead of come to bed with my wife? I don't know. Whatever. I guess so. And I was really surprised to see this, and I was really happy, actually, because I was like, from the beginning, from the first page, from the first issue, I mean, when Superman shows up and there is people dead in the field, I was like, who is that girl? You know, she's got the mask on. I can't see her face. I have no idea who she is. I kind of thought maybe it was Vixen, but nope. It was Solstice, and that is freaking awesome. So we get to see that it was Solstice, and she's having issues. And we move on. This I love because we see Batgirl take Skeets to the playground, and he's like, is this, you know, where you set up lab? And you set up your systems here, and she's like, no, I kind of am the system. And he's kind of confused because she just wants to go there because it's quiet. Well, he realizes why, and I love this. I love, and I've said it before, how Harley Quinn is done in this. You know, she's got her animated series costume on. She looks great. I don't like her hair. Whatever. It's a small complaint. But these kind of nursery rhyme things, I absolutely love, and they've been doing it from the beginning. And they do it again, and I love it. She's like, Skeeter, Skeeter, parking meter, had a secret, tried to keep her. He told Girl Bat he'd never tell, and Harley sent him straight to hell. I love it too much. He's like, uh-oh. Yeah, I love these things that they add in here because it's so well done. It shows the crazy. We get to see Booster, and Blue Beetle just smash into where Barry is, and it actually like works. Like they try to go for a little bit of a fight, but he does end up knocking the hell out of Barry and going through his data. So before he can go through his data, we have to see the Protector. And I was so confused by this at first, but I realized that it was the, and he was like this Robin, or this guy that was supposed to be Robin and couldn't because of some licensing issues, and basically was like in this whole Teen Titans drug issue thing and was redesigned by George Perez. And Tom King just kind of writes him as a joke. He's like talking about, I used to say don't do drugs when I was doing all of them. Like all of them, I was doing all the drugs. I don't know, I found it so funny. And we finally get to see this, superhero State of the Union address. And Superman does a really good job with this. Like, he goes through and talks about the noble souls that were lost. And he says, that Harley and Booster are both wanted for questioning. And we get to switch back, and this is where I said before that they'd look at the evidence. And Booster does a really good job of going through it. And he's like talking about, things he's memorized about each person, things he's memorized about through time travel and everything else. And then he goes and looks at Wally, and he's like down talking about the RNA. He realizes it down to the birthday. And that's kind of where we are held at this point. So this, and I'm not going to go through it because it is long, but we continue, like we see Adam Strange and Mr. Terrific, but in the narrative at this point is still that superhero State of the Union. I really don't know what else to call it. That speech by Superman. And it continues, and it is really good, but I'm not going to read it. Go buy the comic if you want to read it. Anyways, so we get to go back to Harley and Batgirl, and I love their interaction here, and I love how, like, ditzy Harley is. I love it. Batgirl's like, remember you promised, because they're going to find Booster. Like, they got something out of Skeets. And he's like, or Harley's like, you worry too much. I won't kill him. She's like, I'll just murder him. And he's like, that's the same thing. And she's like, really? What? Superheroes so much. You learn something new every day. And I just thought that was cute. How Harley, honestly, come on, girl. You know the difference between, but it's cute. And we go back to this speech, and we get to see Shining Knight. And this speech really, like, kind of not got to me, but like, you felt the power behind it when it switches to this page, and it's absolutely beautiful. And we get to see a bunch of different characters. I absolutely love it. And it says, though you break my body, I will stand. Though you silence my voice, I will speak. Though you bring my death, I will live. This is my home. This is my care. And though you seek the destruction, I am here. And today, my God, it will not fall. So I absolutely love like that. That was the perfect ending to such a good speech. So that page, though, like Swamp Thing, and oh my God, it looks so good. But anyways, I could say so much good about Clayman's art. Like, it's just absolutely stunning. We get to see the end of this, and we get to see, like, Superman's kind of, getting upset at the end of this speech, and Diana puts her hand on him, and it's heartwarming, and the nightmares, whatever. We switch back, and we see, now this Rose, I was confused at first, but a couple issues back, when Harley was talking about the loves of her life, she talked a little bit about Joker, and it was right after we found out Poison Ivy died. She threw a rose in the water. So we get to see that here, and I guess I don't know who picked it up. I should have looked at that. But it's on a red glove. I'm assuming it's Harley. I don't know. But I thought that was like a nice little insert there, because we do get to see something from a previous issue being brought back up. I like that. But we switch back to Booster, and he's still talking. He's in the lab where Barry was at. And he says, I'm telling you, this body, this Wally, he's 5 days too old. So this isn't Wally West. like this just isn't Wally West. Like, so whoever was dead here was either some sort of doppelganger or a clone or something, but this Wally is alive. So I'm assuming Roy's alive. I'm assuming this is going to reverse quite a bit. I'm not saying I know Roy's alive, but I'm assuming with this being not Wally, not the real Wally, or some sort of alternate timeline Wally, we're going to see the return of some of these heroes. And Harley shows up and she's like, hey, Booster, I'm here to massacre you. And she's like, no, Harley, massacre is still kill. And she's like, oh, come on. Is anything not kill? I love Harley. No, I don't love Harley. I love Harley in this. And Harley, yeah, well, that's for another video. But, this is the end of it. We get to see Harley in her therapy session. And she's talking about Joker. And, you know, he does, like, the whole, why did the chicken cross the road? And he's like, she says, you know, duh, to get to the other side. And Joker says, no, to get to the moron's house. Then he says, knock, knock. She says, who's there? And he says, the chicken. So he's calling her a moron. I mean, I thought that was super funny. But then at the last panel, she goes, then he started hitting me real good. And that's it. That's all we see. And it is absolutely just, I can't say enough good about this comic. I know people hate it. You know, the only thing I am starting to get a little, like, I wish there wasn't so many of those 9-page panels. I like seeing into the psyche of the character. But you can only do that so often. And there was like 5 or 6 of them in this one. And it's getting like 1 or 2, 3 at the most. But come on, like for the repetition of it's just too much. And then we get this awesome, you know, this super awesome thing about Wonder Comics, which is just an absolute joke, and Wonder Twins. Meh. I just, ugh. But this was, I mean, I really did enjoy this, and we finally are getting some answers, kind of. We're getting to see that something's going on with either a timeline issue or, like I said, I'm not sure. I originally thought it was Psycho Pirate, but I don't think it could be at this point. So I love it. The art is enough reason to buy it alone. But let me know what you guys think. That is all I have for today. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.